Now, we've all been hearing a lot about lately the shared equity home ownership scheme. So, there's new, incentives and enticements around at the moment to try and increase home ownership, particularly for first home buyers. And, we have been looking at this issue across our newsletters in the last couple of fortnights. So we had an initial look at the government initiatives to help buyers get into their first homes with the land tax versus the transfer or stamp duty tax buyer's choice scheme. And then I now want to, and I talked about that a couple of weeks ago, now I want to actually explore the shared equity scheme that for people trying to buy a home. Now, lots of people are out there talking about the 2% deposit scheme, which allows certain people, and we'll look at what that certain people means in a minute, to be able to buy a property and apply for a mortgage through a participating lender with a small deposit of 2% of the property purchase price. Now, this shared equity scheme, as its name, is only around for a limited time with a limited criteria and is open now for 2 years as a trial run. So there are limited spaces for people to access the scheme, with only 3,000 purchasers being able to take advantage of this scheme in each financial year. So let's see where that gets to in the first 2 financial years that it'll be running. So the scheme will see the government actually buy in on property with an eligible buyer, almost as though the buyer had a co-owner or a guarantor. But the government will be buying into that. So the government will contribute a proportion of the purchase price of the property in exchange for the equivalent interest in that property. So the contribution is a percentage of the purchase price, and the maximum amount is determined by whether it's a new or an existing home. For new homes, it can be up to 40% shared ownership here, and for an existing home, it can be up to 30%. So there's also a property value cap on this. There's $950,000 cap on the property value, the total property value in Sydney and major regional centres such as Newcastle, Lake Macquarie, Illawarra, Central Coast, some of the north coast of New South Wales, or a $6,000 cap in other regional areas of New South Wales. So the initiative is open. Then we look back at this certain person issue. So this initiative is open to certain people. So those 3 groups are single parents with a dependent child or children. Second group is single people 50 years of age or above, or first home buyer key workers who are nurses, midwives, paramedics, teachers, early childhood educators, or police officers. So they've been quite specific about those categories of workers. So anybody who meets the criteria will also need to meet an income test, which is $90,000 for singles and $120,000 for couples. So the buyers will be responsible for all associated costs, such as the council rates and the property maintenances. There's no shared payment of those issues at all. So it's all about just the homeowner will be responsible for those. The New South government, obviously also the maintenance issues. If the homeowner decides to sell the property, the New South Wales government will recoup their equity share from the sale price. So obviously, buyers will also have that option of buying back over time. So, buying that equity share back, so they don't have the New South Wales government owning 30 or 40% of their home. So they can do that in 5% increments. So not little bits here and there, but full 5% increments, and will be subject to reviews of their continued eligibility, obviously. Now, what's not really clear about this, and I guess we'll get more clarity as time goes on and more questions are asked and more people take advantage of this scheme, is how the continued eligibility will be assessed. And there are a number of people who are raising concerns, and when you look at some of the sites where people are raising these concerns, it's around the cost of living and maintaining a financial cap for some buyers. For example, someone who has an income of $85,000, so a single person with an income of $85,000, remembering that income cap for singles is $90,000, may be deterred from being able to undertake additional work or overtime or get an increase in pay to the point where they will exceed $90,000 and they may no longer be eligible for the scheme, and subsequently they'll be put in a position to buy back the equity share sooner than they may be financially able to do so. So whilst this may be an initiative that some of your potential buyers, so agents, you need to be really aware of this. Don't go giving financial advice, because that is not your role. That is not what you can do. So it may benefit some of your potential buyers, and they may be looking to get into this scheme and get into the market to own their own homes. It's essential that you as the agent do not provide legal or the financial advice regarding this scheme. This is most certainly the time when you'll be sending your buyers to speak to their solicitors or their accountants or financial advisors. This is absolutely crucial. So people need to make a decision. We don't want to go down, there's lots of schemes, and some people are, maybe comparing this to the old home fund scheme or other schemes that have been around over the years. Look, there are other protections in here, but certainly if people are talking about using this scheme, make sure your advice as an agent to them is go and get the correct legal and financial advice before they jump into any type of this shared equity home ownership scheme. So obviously it may well increase the number of buyers who are out in the market in certain financial areas, for financial caps. Remember that the value of the property cap is 950 in Sydney and some other major regional areas, and 600 in all other regional areas. So it's in that buyer's market that you might be looking for, that you'll have an increase in your homeowners seeking, or potential homeowners seeking property.